Are we live already? Because I was saying period, which means full stop. Normally English में जब हम बोलते हैं period, तो उसका मतलब है full stop. But यहाँ पर we know that word period means something that encourages the flow of life. बहुत ही deep है ना? But that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go deep into this amazing topic of discussion. A topic जो normally people don't talk about. And today, as we get together on World Menstrual Hygiene Day, it is time for us to welcome our panelists. Alag parts of the world say, that is true, from different parts of the world, joining us right here on our platform. It is a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome, आपका स्वागत है, all the mums, and we are hoping आपके पूरा परिवार आपके साथ जुड़ा है for the beautiful, sensitive discussion as we talk about the menstrual cycle, menstrual hygiene, understanding the importance of the entire family being able to speak about it more comfortably, understanding कि society एक दूसरे को support कैसे कर सकते हैं. How can the man support the woman in society? How can there be a smoothness, a comfort, a relaxation about this time? So we welcome all of you. Welcome right here. Ma to Mom welcomes each and every one of you every single week. Jyoti Agarwal, who founded Ma to Mom, brings you a beautiful topic of discussion. And today we welcome all of you to World Menstrual Hygiene Day. We've got our panelists जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं अलग-अलग दुनिया के अलग-अलग parts से from different corners of the world, and it's going to be fabulous. तो अगर आप तैयार हो ना? So let's talk about it. But as I welcome you, मैं बताना चाहती हूँ, I am RJ Keisha. You can watch for my wellness series जो है Mind Your Health on YouTube. I'm all about health. And this is going to be a very healthy discussion. So starting, maybe we want to say hello to everybody who's joining in. Let's be open today. This is our platform to talk openly. And let's start out हमारा discussion with हमारे offline panelists जो घर पे बैठे हैं. So if you are sitting at home right now, let's ask you the first question. When was it that you felt, or have you ever felt comfortable talking about periods? Have you? And for men and women, have you ever felt comfortable talking about periods? If you felt comfortable, put your thumbs up. And if you felt not too comfortable, you can put your thumbs down. That is okay as well. We want to know that from today onwards, can we go ahead and start being more comfortable? Can we start being more sensitive? तो चलो हम बुलाना चाहते हैं हमारे सारे panelists को who have joined us from different parts of the world. It's going to be amazing. We've got a doctor, we've got a nutritionist, we've got technology, we've been able to make sure that you can check your own menstrual cycle, your own wellness on using technology. Interesting now, but that's all going to happen here. We've got somebody who's making sure that you have all the products that you need during this time. It's going to come to you in a box, and they've made it accessible. And then from across the world, we've got somebody who's going to be telling us about how can we be more sensitive internationally and nationally, and how can we also talk about making policies. So interesting panel. We've got all our panelists, and I'm saying a big hello to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us here today. So right at the very start, as we start out, we're going to invite all our panelists one by one to introduce yourself. बहुत ही in 30 seconds, rapid fire introduction हम कहलाना चाहते हैं उसको. So this is our panel discussion, and right at the very start, we are going to ask our doctor, Dr. Shweta, who's going to bring in a little bit of the magic of Ayurveda onto our panel discussion right now. So welcome, Dr. Shweta Attarwala. Can you unmute yourself and go ahead and tell us about, in 30 seconds, a little bit about what you do?
Hi, Keisha. Thank you for having me here. So Keisha's given a timeline and I'm going to speak real fast. I am Dr. Shweta Attarwala and I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner for the last 17 years. And I do a lot of work in the field of preventive healthcare and wellness using Ayurvedic principles. My work is all about Ayurveda and how to get Ayurveda practically into your life in today's time and age, how to simplify those principles, make you understand those principles, follow those principles. So am I 30 seconds over, Keisha?
Yes, fantastic. I think you understand because you are bringing nature into our space right now, into our conversation right now, and we are absolutely loving it. Somebody else who's definitely bringing in an interesting angle right now is somebody who's going to be talking about nutrition. So we're going to invite Huda Sheikh to join us and share a little bit about yourself as you unmute yourself.
Hi, Keisha. It's lovely to be here amongst, so many learned persons. So I'm a nutritionist, clinical dietitian, and the founder of a nutrition website called NutriBond. Along with that, I also run the period movement that talks about menstruation, and typically we talk about menstruation to underprivileged and, girls who really don't know about it. So
I think that's brilliant. 30 seconds on the dot over there. We are absolutely loving it. We are now looking at inviting Rachna Gupta, who I know is a happiness coach, but she brings that joy into her work as well. And she is, well, let me not share. Let Rachna do that. Rachna Gupta, welcome. Can you share a little bit about your introduction?
Hey, thank you, Keisha, Jyoti, and the Ma to Mom community. I think what a fabulous Wednesday afternoon meeting you all and my co-panelists. So I'm the co-founder of Gynoveda, which is the world's first tech-enabled Ayurveda platform solving period problems. And I'm so glad that we have Dr. Shweta here, who also understands the science of Ayurveda, and looking forward to some very meaningful exchange of notes that we're going to be doing today. I've been a huge advocate of women's health, whether in my corporate life, then as an happiness coach, and now as an accidental entrepreneur, and that's what I call myself. So I think women's health, hygiene, and happiness, the 3H, and of course, hormones, which I think is an essential part of our discussion today. Huge advocate of that, and everything that revolves around period and menstruation, I'm there to support it and amplify the reach of it. So thank you for having me on board.
Awesome, Rachna. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to go straight to that beautiful purple wall with the lovely flowers and the very pretty Sanjana Pai. She is going to tell us about the company she founded as quickly as possible. Sanjana.
Hi, Keisha. Thank you for having me on this panel. I'm so excited to be sharing the panel with some amazing women here. I am the founder of the Pink Box, and we curate subscription boxes for everything women need on their period. So right from your choice of sanitary pads and tampons to healthy snacks, sweets, and some stress busters, we've got it all. Plus, we deliver the box to you 5 days before your period, so you don't even have to keep tracking it. So that's what we do. We're enabling you to have a very happy and comfortable period. That's us.
Brilliant, brilliant, Sanjana. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And then, as you can see from across the globe, from the UK actually, we've got Rupinderjit Kaur who joins us here. And this is wonderful to have you here. She is a politician, but somebody who works to make sure that, I'm giving out all the secrets. I'm going to ask Rupinderjit to share with us the kind of work that you're doing. As you unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes. Hi, Keisha, and hi, everyone else. I can just hear her now. I don't know what you said before, so there was a technical issue. But yeah, thank you, everyone. And my name is Rupinder. I'm a politician from England. I represent Springvale Ward in Wolverhampton City Council. And I'm also a chair of Jaikara, who support men and women suffering domestic violence and challenging all the taboos around, say, South Asian communities.
That is brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us here today. A different time zone. We are saying good evening. You are still saying late morning.
Morning.
And yes, and it's wonderful that you've joined us here today, bringing in a little bit of that lovely sunshine. Okay, so you know, as we're moving forward right now, this is a splendid space, because as you look around, agar aap dekhoge, then you can see we've got different panelists sharing with us from different angles, but the topic of discussion is exactly the same. So right at the very start, yes, we've got a lot of people over here who've been saying hello and saying hi, and बहुत ही important है. So the first question has been a little sensitive, right? Are we comfortable talking about periods? Are we really? Well, every panelist over here definitely is, but from across हमारे घर बैठे panelist जो है, अभी तक हमें बताया नहीं है, are you comfortable or not? But you know, this is one thing. Every single lady has a different name for periods, right? So we call it different things. I'm going to ask all our panelists to give us one word that they normally have been comfortable calling their periods. And then from home, you've got to go in the live comments and send in what is the word that you use? What is the word that you are most comfortable calling your periods? Well, Rachna, what is the word that you call your periods?
Periods.
Periods. Rupinderjit. You've got to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, blessing.
A blessing. Okay, Dr. Shweta.
So I call it periods.
Periods.
Yeah.
Periods or menstruation?
Menstruation or periods. Sanjana.
Yeah, period. But for the longest time, it was Aunt Flo.
Aunt Flo. Okay. Well, see, we've got periods, we've got blessing, we've got menstruation, we've got, I've even heard chums, I've heard men. Yes, so there are different words. What is the word that you call periods? So go ahead and write it right now in the live comments. You've got to be a part of the discussion. हमारे जो live panelists है यहाँ पे, उन्होंने तो बता दिया है. आप भी बताओ हमें. Go ahead and write it right away in the live comments. We want this to be an open forum discussion. It is a discussion with our panelists and with you. And when we know that you are chatting with us, when we know that you are speaking with us, we've got Rupinder, who also says menses, charms, Aunt Flo, and this is what I haven't heard, Sayappa. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't heard that one. Look at that. Okay, please go ahead. Hema says periods. Rajulakshmi says periods. Somebody else, Marigold, homeopathy says menses. Okay, so we've got the words coming in. Our panelists at home, you are talking. That is fantastic. Our panelists over here want to speak as well. And I think that is so important. Dr. Shweta, we're going to come straight to you to start out our pura topic of discussion. That is where we want to begin. We want to ask you, tell us about this entire journey from the time that a girl is, you know, in her maybe just 12 or 13 or even earlier sometimes, or a little later sometimes, and then all the way to about late 40s, 50s, that women go through this time of experiencing periods. And this is what we want for us to be comfortable. It's such a long period of our life, and we want to be comfortable, but we aren't really. It's always hush-hush. To take care of our periods, it's newspaper wrapped tampons or pads. So it's always very, very, very hush-hush. So can you share with us a little bit about the mental makeup जो हम औरतें सहन करती हैं जब हमें periods आती है, from the time we start to the time that we finish? Because
yeah. Thanks, Keisha. See, the time when the girl gets her first period, a little bit before that is called menarche, when you're expecting her to get her first period and start that fertility journey. Periods basically signifies fertility, right? So that, okay, your body is ready and it's kind of giving you signals that now the uterus may be able to hold a fetus. So right from that time till menopause, there is so much going around this one phenomena, or very natural physiological phenomena. Whereas, boys experience menarche too. but there is nothing, there is no apprehension about it, there is no anxiety about it, and no one is thinking of like, oh, you know what, now what will happen, and they are going to enter a phase of growth, and of they are also going to get sexually active, or what can I say, a reproductive cycle for them also will start, and they will be able to, so they are growing. So there's no, so what happens is when it comes to the menage for the girl, either it's very hush hush. So for the first 2-3 cycles, parents don't even want to tell the relatives that, okay, she started getting her periods. Or if someone just drops into your house, you're like, okay, don't tell her, just let it be very hush hush. She should not come to know. So that, and the other extreme is there is celebration. So there are cultures who are celebrating the first period. Although it sounds good, celebration of the first period. But what happens after that is that this cycle is every month. And when this happens every month in either of the cultures, it's still hush hush. So, you're supposed to be keeping it a secret. No one should come to know. No one should see you taking a pad and throwing it, or your clothes should not get stained. If your bedsheet clothes are stained, you're supposed to somehow, manage it before someone sees it. So all that kind of anxiety that is built, and there is hardly ever mother-daughter talk, or any close person talking to the girl and just letting her know that, okay, this is normal. It is very easy for the girl to feel, kind of scared at that time, that or anxious at that time, that what is happening all of a sudden, and there is so much change. But there's all this, they just come to know through friends, and then on the other side, friends where they are considered, where it is considered to be normal, they are looking forward to it. When girls start speaking and your friend has got a period, now okay, I am looking forward to it too. Like, I want to grow too. You don't want to stay without a period at that time, because that is another stress. But your parents don't want to talk about it, and it's so in the wraps, and that builds a lot of anxiety and a lot of yeah. And what happens is, in this whole thing, the mindset changes so strongly, Keisha, that we start believing that this is something to be hidden. This is something which is not good, which is happening to us just because we are women. And it is something that has to be kept very high.
To go to the opposite end, to when you're going to complete, and the entire cycle of fertility, or the closing of the periods when you're going towards menopause.
Yeah, that again is now that is again become stigmatic. Like that again, there's stigma associated with it, because women are if they're experiencing menopause early. So if they start experiencing it early, or if they start their periods getting irregular early, they're worried that, are they experiencing menopause? Should they be open about it? Is it okay to tell people that you're experiencing menopause? How should you behave? Okay, so you're experiencing menopause, you're getting these mood swings. People tend to kind of withdraw, because they don't want to express themselves at that time about how they are feeling, what is happening. So again,
so we come back to that topic, but I think that's amazing that you cover these topics about the mental makeup. Jo hum actually, when we experience it here first, then the body says different things, because if you're stressed, the body is going to be stressed. So I'm going to come back to you on that. We're going to ask Rachna Gupta to come in and share with us. So we're going to stay with the Ayurvedic angle for a little while, and talk about are families comfortable talking about coming forward and getting themselves checked, getting a girl checked, getting the wife checked, and how often, or how should a woman or a girl get herself checked to make sure that she is definitely well? Because I know at Gynoveda you all are constantly checking, and that is something that is needed, the wellness angle of the human body, the female body.
Yeah, such a pertinent point that Dr. Shweta brought out. I think it stems into our education system as well. Are we normalizing conversations about our menstrual health, and are we making menstruation as a biological process clearly understood to both sexes, whether it's boys or girls, but with the same level of detailing? You know, often we see we saying, oh, why should we explain much in detail to a boy because he's not going to experience it? But I think that is where the fundamental change needs to happen, because it's appalling that, you know, I have seen women even in their late 30s or early 40s not really being comfortable about talking different organs of their body. A lot of them don't even know we have two ovaries. There is a uterus, there is a fallopian tube, and there is a vagina. I think the word vagina itself kind of evokes such kind of reactions from women themselves. But we need to understand that this is a body part. It's an essential organ, just like other organs of our body, and give it its due respect and due credit. You don't need to go harping about it, but you don't need to feel ashamed about it. Certainly not. So I think one aspect is normalizing conversations, and the other aspect is, like I've often said this, that as women we tend to deprioritize our health. For us, the health of our family, our husband, our parents, in-laws, children is so important that when it comes to our health, we are probably at the lowest of the stack. And within health, when it comes to menstrual health, Keisha, I think, because there is this whole discomfort about talking openly about it, not knowing what to do, not even discussing it with your mothers, your sister, or even your best friends, tends to put women at a far greater danger, because early detection and getting to diagnose at an early stage of what irregularities that's going on inside your reproductive organs, is it an indication of some kind of a disorder that you should watch out for? I think that's what women don't do. We wait till, sorry, but shit hits the ceiling, and then, we are desperate to do all kinds of measures. So I think it's important to pay attention to what our body is telling us. Having periods every month is a sign of good health. A normal healthy period is of a certain characteristic, and we all understand what a normal healthy period is. So if you see anything abnormal apart from what you're expected to go through, I would urge and nudge every woman to get herself tested, because detection leads to the right actions.
Well, that is brilliant, because even Dr. Shweta earlier was sharing something along the same lines of that it's a normal, natural experience in the body. So that is brilliant. We'll come back to that, Rachna. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And we're now going to invite Huda Sheikh to join us, because we definitely want to know about this. So if it's not a comfortable topic of discussion amongst girls and boys of the age when they need to understand it and be spoken about it and shared from an informed adult, then of course it's going to move from one generation to another generation to another generation. And I don't think that one generation is going to have to hold on to themselves and say, we'll experience thoda embarrassment, but now let's deal with it sensitively. So what does the period movement do? Do you all also handle this, where you speak about it openly and make it a comfortable topic of discussion?
Absolutely. As I was talking earlier, Kesha, a lot of people were uncomfortable about discussing menstruation or periods. And even today, if you see most of the women, if the moment you raise the topic, the moment you say periods or the moment you say menstruation, people are freaked out. And initially when we started working and when we were going to schools and colleges, so people would definitely tell us one thing, that these girls have gone mad. So initially, if you go to see years back, menstruation was not something that was spoken about. Today, we do have people who speak about menstruation. I mean, as Rachna rightly said, that having a healthy period is very, very important. And it's a sign of good health. So that is something we need to understand and instill into the minds of most of the youngsters, and tell them that, only if you are getting proper periods, or only if you're getting regular periods, that's when you are healthy. So that's what we try to do initially. When we used to go to schools, and when we used to talk to the girls, they would literally start giggling amongst themselves, and they would tell each other, "Arey, ye kya baat kar rahe hain? Why are they talking about menstruation?" Because that's what they've been told right from the start. Right from the beginning, they've been told that, okay, this is a hush hush topic and you shouldn't be talking about it. Even in fact, at their homes, most of the times they say, we don't even tell our moms if we get our periods, because why to tell them all the time? That's what they say. And so our minds have been conditioned in such a way that we shouldn't be talking about it, because it is, as I was saying earlier, it's ortho ki bimari. It's something that only women go through, so only women should be speaking about it amongst themselves, and no men should know about it. In fact, most of the advertisements that we get, we see, and we see sanitary napkins, and different brands, they are coming up with different sanitary napkins, and even menstrual cups these days. So initially people used to be freaked out, and they would feel, oh my god, a sanitary napkin ad. And that's when people started realizing that there is something that's different. Even as for that matter, most of the boys would come to know about menstruation or periods through these advertisements, and not through their parents.
Exactly. So Huda, we're going to come back to that, because I think you're touching upon the we think we're being sensitive by being quiet, but actually we're being completely insensitive by being quiet and being hush hush. So we need to open up our voices and talk about it. And we know somebody who's joined us from the UK who's definitely making sure that women across the globe are talking about it. So Rupinderjit, can you share with us a little bit about the comparison of how is it the same in the UK? Is it the same approach of being quiet and thinking that if you even have a birds and bees conversation, we can't even say the word period, but even if we do say a birds and bee conversation, that everybody's embarrassed. So Rupinderjit, can you unmute yourself and share with us? Yeah.
Hey,
Hi. Sanjana in, and Sanjana, you're definite. Rupinder, are you here with us? Okay, so we're going to get Sanjana in, and we'll come back with the conversation with you. All right, let's see if you're connecting, because that's the magic of the space that we are in right now. We are all making sure that technology connects us, and we are not understanding technology too well, but we are open about this conversation, aren't we? Sanjana, we're going to give you center stage. We want you to share with us about. So we were getting Rupinderji to talk about the international versus national. Is it the same scenario? But for you, can you share with us about, is it the same scenario? Because for the pink box, you'll have been doing research, and is it the same scenario of the urban girl vis-a-vis the rural life that
Right.
a girl lives?
Right. So many times we are asked, why are you focusing only on urban areas? Why aren't you doing anything in the rural areas? But the problem is, Keisha, that it is not just a rural problem, the taboo and the stigma, it is very much an urban problem. I think everybody on this panel, whatever city or town they are from, we have all faced this issue at least once in our lifetimes, when we've gone to the grocery shop and he wraps up your sanitary pads as if it's something contraband, and as if it's a bomb. And many times what happens is, when you tell him, don't wrap it, I'll just put it in my bag, you're given a kind of look. So something that Rachna said earlier actually stuck out to me. She said that maybe it's the word vagina that has so much of a negative connotation attached to that, which makes periods in turn a negatively perceived topic as well. So I mean, that's something that we have to think about. And I was speaking about this with Keisha yesterday. I'd like to share an incident that happened with me when I was in school about 10 to 12 years back. I think I was about 13, and we had PE period where we could just go down and play, and we all had to practice for 100-meter race. And I was on my period, and pads back then weren't really soft; they were always plasticky. It would itch a lot. So I wasn't really down for running and all of that. And I told my PE teacher, "Ki, ma'am, I don't think I can run today because I'm on my period and it's uncomfortable." And she says, "You're on your period today." And I say, "Yes." And she said, "Oh, really? Can you prove it to me?" And for a second, I was really taken aback. I was thinking, what exactly is happening? But the rebellious teenager that I was, I said, "Ha, ma'am, theek hai, chalo." And then she got awkward and she's like, "No, no, it's okay. Don't run, it's fine." So I think this is just this is one of many examples which proves that it is very much an urban problem as well. It is not a rural problem only. And I strongly feel that there is a lot of aspiration when it comes to women and men in rural India, that they compare with urban areas. If there is a product or a service that is widely available and accepted in urban areas, they want that as well. So we are trying to create a couple of products that would help. That would not only be useful but also accessible to urban Indian women, which would then trickle down to rural India as well.
So it becomes aspirational to them. That so if what do you think are the tools that they need right now? What is it that so when a woman is going through her period, what does she need that you feel is essential?
Firstly, this is not a tangible thing, but education. It is so important to educate women about what periods are. And here at the Pink Box, we've had a lot of sessions. We've helped over 2,000 women and children in need, educating them about their period. In fact, Dr. Shweta, who's also on this panel, has been with us in a lot of these sessions. She's been an amazing facilitator for us. So I think education firstly, and secondly, access to menstrual hygiene products. And it's not only access, but it's also acceptance. A lot of organizations that have been set up and funded by government of Maharashtra, they create these little self-help groups where women are taught how to manufacture pads. Something very similar to what we saw in Period End of Sentence, the Oscar-winning movie. I think when women manufacture pads, they know how important sanitation and hygiene is, and that in turn helps them teach their descendants and the next generations. So yes, I think education and acceptance is what we need.
Great, Sanjana. I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Huda Sheikh, we want to hear from you, because if education is so important, then let's start it right now. What is it that jo hamare everybody who's joined us right now, can you also share with them what is it about menstrual hygiene that we should definitely keep in mind? Because we are looking forward to making ye hamara jo topic hai on World Menstrual Hygiene Day. We want to make it an open conversation. We want to make it a comfortable conversation. And if you're talking about menstrual hygiene, what should come to mind? हमारे दिमाग में क्या होना चाहिए? This is menstrual hygiene.
So firstly, Kesha, there's one point that I just remembered throughout the conversation that you were having with other experts. So we used to have a chapter back in school, and most of the times that chapter spoke about reproduction. It spoke about female reproduction. It spoke about menstruation, and that part was usually skipped. The teacher would say, हाँ ये खुद से पढ़ लेना, kind of a thing, because people were not aware about it, and also nobody wanted to talk about it. And even today, when you go to see, sex education is something that people don't take it happily. Even when it comes to most of the parents, they feel that this needs to be skipped. ये हमारे बच्चे को अभी से क्यों बताना है? The reason why you see so many crimes, the reason why you see so many problems in the society is because we don't talk about major topics, and we don't talk about the main topics that we need to talk about. I mean, we will talk about everything under the sun, under the moon, but we won't talk about the main things that we need to talk about. So as I was already mentioning, we see most of the things through television or the internet. So usually when we spoke to a lot of boys when it came to menstruation, we asked them that how did you come to know about it? They said our parents didn't tell us about it, so we went and we googled about it, and then we understood that okay, this is what it is. Because usually most of the youngsters and most of the people have phones these days. So the moment they're not told anything, they would go, they would Google, and they would see YouTube videos, and they would come to know, okay, this is what it is. So that is, that's the kind of there's a stigma attached to it even today, and people still feel that okay, we shouldn't be speaking about it.
And
So
there
when
is
it
so much
comes,
interpretation, and there's so much of self-interpretation.
absolutely, absolutely. So initially, since we also did not know about menstruation, I know a lot of my friends who felt that okay, when they got their first periods, they thought they've got blood cancer or they've got some bleeding disorder, and God knows what. I mean, everybody has different interpretations, and when we started having these advertisements on TV or online, so most of the kids would interpret it in their own manner, that अरे ये ऐसा कुछ होता होगा, वैसा कुछ होता होगा, because they were never informed about it. Also, when it comes to menstrual hygiene is an extremely important topic, because we don't talk about it. When we don't talk about menstruation, we are definitely not going to talk about menstrual hygiene. And yeah, and if you are not hygienic during menstruation, you can attract a lot of infections during that phase. Because if you go to see, our female reproductive system is quite delicate. I mean, any changes, because we have a natural microbiota, our vagina or our female reproductive system, we have a different microbiota for it. So usually what happens is, when you are using a sanitary napkin, most of the times many people don't change it for the entire day, or they keep it for like more than 7 hours in a day. That's not something that needs to be done. I mean, you need to change your sanitary napkins every 3 to 4 hours. Also, if there's somebody who has a very heavy flow, they need to change it every 2 to 3 hours. So I mean, that's what and then people are also washing their vagina in the wrong manner. I mean, what they do is, they usually wash their vagina from back to front, but then you need to wash it from front to back. Also, avoid using any perfumes or any soaps that are available. Don't even use the soaps that you use to wash your own body. And don't even people use razors, I mean, to clean their pubic hair, but then they should also avoid using razors when it comes to their vagina, or when it comes to the upper part of the female reproductive system that's visible to us, the outer female reproductive system. So a lot more things need to be done, and we need to be pretty very very informed when it comes to menstrual hygiene.
We've got Rupinderjit online, and we're going to ask you to take that question forward. How is it accepted internationally? And you've heard about the entire approach in India, and of course, you've been here as well. So can you share with us, Rupinderjit?
Kisha, you got to repeat your question again, because I'm having such
Yes.
terrible day with the technology today. Yes, so please bear with me.
Not at all. So can you share with us the way that menstrual hygiene and the talk of menstruation is approached internationally vis-a-vis India?
Kisha, it's not different from what you've discussed in India. It's pretty much the same. As we had a discussion yesterday as well. You go to a restaurant, you will still see a woman talking very quietly about their pads, and when you go to the to loo, they're hiding their sleeves or something. So it's not something held proudly. Yeah. So there is a lot of stigma still attached to it. So I think from last couple of years here in England, what's been happening, there's been a lot of talks from around 2017. A young girl raised an issue about this, and after that there's been absolutely loads and loads of talks about it. So people starting getting to know that, oh my god, yeah, this is an issue. Even the government kind of started admitting it. Yes, it is an issue. And in 2018 the UK government actually 2019 they've said they've set a task force to look at the stigma attached to this to period, and why people find it so embarrassing, because it's a natural thing. seriously, completely natural thing. So the result of the task force was the government agreed that from the beginning of this year, we're going to provide free sanitary pads to all the high schools. Then later they decided no, it's going to be in all the primary school, all the girls. But we're in pandemic, so before we could actually see this happening, we were in the lockdown. But yes, we're very excited that this is going to happen, but the problem is still there. It is still an issue. As you can see, we're running a campaign. We have not even had one male picture to come up and say, yes, I am supporting this campaign, I'm taking part in it. So the stigma, the embarrassment is still there, and not just only with the men. Let's just forget about men for a moment. Let's just talk about women only. It is exactly the same, exactly how it is in India. Here, doesn't matter, we're talking about rural population, urban population, it's exactly the same, and this is what we really need to change. And I find it really surprising when I see educated women. They're professors, they are doctors are not so much, because they understand this better. They are police officers, these are army officer, and they still hide it. They're still very embarrassed to talk about such issues. We've been having these conversations very openly, and the kind of response I normally get on my lives or my posts, I don't see this when it comes to menstrual hygiene. um, we talk about sex, we talk about anything else. Yes, everybody wants to talk about menstrual hygiene, periods. Why is such a topic which nobody wants to talk when, it's a blessing? Without these periods, I don't think, we could really do anything in this world. Yeah, a life comes because of that.
The world exists because a woman actually can
Absolutely.
menstruate and reproduce. Beautifully said, yes.
Absolutely.
So that is amazing. Thank you so much, Rupinderjit. We're going to come back to you in just a little while from now. लेकिन अगर आप घर पे बैठे हैं तो go ahead and tell us. See, it's an open conversation right now. We want you to tell us, where did you first have your conversation about understanding your periods and understanding this जो cycle जो आपके शरीर के साथ हो रहा है, for boys or for girls? Who was the person who first spoke to you? Write that name, the person who was open enough to speak with you. Your mom, your dad. Did you learn about it in school, or was it friends? Go ahead, chat. जो live chat चल रहा है यहाँ पे, live comments चल रहा है. Go ahead and tell us, who was the person who helped you understand about the entire cycle of menstruation and about the human body, the female and the male body. We are looking forward to knowing that you are with us right now. Okay, so Rachna, I'm going to ask you, of course, we want all of society to be very comfortable with talking about it. But a woman who does talk about it, I've noticed sometimes they expect extra consideration during this time, right? Because so obviously there are two ends of the coin. It is a natural, it is serious, and it is natural. And I know for a fact that at Gynoveda, you've seen how families have come together, and it's fathers and its mothers who have come together to create a support for their children in understanding the human body. So can you share that with us?
Sure. So, I always believe in balance. I think an essential part of what Ayurveda also stems from is the fact that there needs to be a balance. So just giving a balance to this conversation, and at the beginning I did talk about how there is so much yet to be done in terms of women speaking up, women's voices being heard when it comes to period. But I'm grateful that I've got a chance to see two sides of the same coin. It's very heartening to see narratives of men leading conversations when it comes to period and menstrual health. And I must mention, it's a home story. So my husband and I are co-founders of Gynoveda. I think in the last 1 year, one topic that clearly we've discussed for almost 16 hours a day is menstrual health. How can we make it authentic? How can we make it affordable? And how can we make it accessible? I think the 3 A's in terms of the building this ecosystem. So I think one needs to really keep a very balanced approach when we talk of menstruation. Honestly, I don't think any one of us look at periods as happy. I think we look at periods as healthy. As long as you have healthy period, happiness is an outcome. It's not an input, right? So if you focus on good health, if you focus on getting healthy, normal period, you're going to lead a happy life. And yeah, it's, just a couple of days back, Keisha, I got a call from a young husband from one of the remotest villages of Himachal Pradesh. And technology had made it easy for him to look at Dinoveda's ad. And he said he was the one talking to me for 20 minutes, asking everything about is his wife going to be okay because she had been diagnosed with PCOS. He knew exactly when she gets her menstrual cycle, what's the kind of period flow, and it had nothing to do with the fact that they were trying to conceive a child. It was so empowering to hear a man say, I want my wife to be well and have a normal menstrual cycle. I don't really care if we conceive or not. So there is one side of that huge piece which is now emerging, and I think we should not just get into men bashing or male bashing. Otherwise, I think we need to give them their due credit. So I think it's all about balance at the end of the day.
Wonderful, Rachna. Well, I'm definitely no male bashing, because we've got different people who've been saying that they had some. Hema said her mum helped her understand. Aarti says in school. Sunita says mum. Anandita says that school was where she was informed. It was in class 10, and now we're wondering which is the right age and when is it that we should really start having these conversations. I'm going to ask Dr. Shweta to share that with us. And we had Gurvinder, who said her mom made her understand about her body and her first menses. Mumal says mom and the playground also. Well, this is really amazing. We're waiting for all of you. Aapko hame batana hai ki who had the first conversation with you, who was brave enough, because I think right now it needs for you to be comfortable enough with yourself कि आप दूसरों के साथ you can go ahead and have this conversation, right? So who was comfortable enough with the topic to have the conversation with you? And I'm hoping they were comfortable. Sometimes you just need to be brave. But we're going to ask Dr. Shweta, when we are approaching this topic, what is the right time to have the birds and bees conversation? Right age कौन सा है जहाँ पर हमें ये conversation शुरू करना चाहिए?
Keisha, this is so sensitive. Like, even being a doctor, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and as she was growing 6 years, 7 years, I was wondering what is the right age. And I actually reached out to my friends and to the community to ask them what is the age that they spoke to their children, or what is the right age. But frankly, you have to figure this out yourself, because you come to know when your children have started the conversation, regarding the segregation, the difference between male and female. Okay, so you come to know, you can judge that. But I would say any age 7+ is a good time to let them know. Because nowadays I have in my practice seen girls starting menstruation from the age of 9 years. And when it comes as a shock where the girl doesn't know and suddenly sees blood, on her underpants, and it can be very traumatic. And it is such a gentle age. But at the same time, they are very intelligent, children. You can explain things to them. You can let them know that this thing happens and it is normal and it is natural. And if something like this happens, you come to me and I will help you out. So they have to know that there is a support system. If it happens in school, you can speak to your teacher. So, and that is the base, that is going to form the base of acceptance. Like we were discussing earlier, Keisha, acceptance, I just keep saying, accept your period. Even to so many women who come to me with PCOD, with pain during their periods, even if it's not PCOD, with irregular periods. There is so much trauma behind the scenes that we have faced subconsciously. And due to that trauma, we have ourselves developed a kind of negativity in our own minds. So even the urban girls, you ask them, do you want your period? They're going to say no. we don't want a period. Whereas it is such a beautiful thing. It is a natural thing for females. It is a necessary thing. It is across all species. But we want to reject it, and mainly because of some kind of negativity that we have generated. It could be due to discriminatory experiences. Okay, like you asking people when who did you speak first to? I never spoke to anyone about my period. Yeah. So my family, a very open-minded family, you know, got me educated. I mean, there was no question about whether education, no girl boy discrimination. But to speak about period, no, I didn't have anyone. I got my education from school, and then of course, as you grow up, you're speaking to friends, you tend to find
Yeah.
out for yourself. So that kind of thing.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. So that is brilliant. We're going to come back to you right now and ask about what does Ayurveda say about moving forward into this time. And I know that you have a very interesting angle on that. Before we go there, we're going to ask Rupinderjit about, if you can share with us. So if right now you're like creating new policies to move forward and make, the tool, the pad that is going to increase hygiene more accessible, what are you doing for the mental acceptance? What are you doing for the openness of conversation? That I think is the most important thing, right? So as you unmute yourself, yeah.
Keep forgetting. Yes, absolutely right. The stigma attached to it really need to go, and the only way we can get rid of it is when men start talking about it, not just women. Men really need to get involved, and this is being said. Remember, even in the parliament, one of the MPs have said the only way to get rid of the stigma is when men openly talk about it, not jokes, but talk about it in a very positive way. That because it is a positive thing, yeah, we've got nothing to be embarrassed about it, and that's the only way. Awareness is very, very important. Why we embarrassed? Why we still following the old practices? I mean, you'd be surprised. Even here in UK, you will see when I was living with my mother-in-law. Sorry, my ex-mother-in-law. I was told, oh, not to touch pickle. Yeah, and this is we were talking about a decade, yeah, and not to touch pickle, not to water the plants. So here they've been here in this country for over 40 years, and they still follow the same practices. So you can imagine these practices being passed on to the next generation. So it's really, the need to break, but that does not mean that we've forgotten about those practices. They've been still being followed. So breaking them is a challenge. The only way the challenge we can break this is by talking, by raising awareness, and being open and honest about it. That yes, I bleed, and it's absolutely okay. But how many times you will hear a woman really openly talking about it on a platform where millions of people can actually see you and hear you? Media, our own media, yeah, they don't talk about this. How often you see a ad in the TV to promote their product, a pad, but do they actually talk about that it's absolutely okay to bleed? No, I've never seen any ad like this. I don't know if been an
Yes.
improvement in India or not, but in UK there is nothing. There's absolutely nothing. You see a lot of people doing good work around this area, but no. And even in fact about the policy, very rare you see such discussions, such documents on the TV being discussed. Even on social media, this very rare. Only, let's just say 2% of the people, or 1%, I should say, not 2%. I think that's just me being too kind. 1% of the people in UK may be thinking positive about periods and trying to do something. That includes me and all of you lovely ladies as well who are putting input now. Talk about periods positively. Imagine these 1%, how long it's going to take for us to reach to the 99% other people, to break the cycle, to break the stigma. It's a
That is
big
brilliant.
task. Yeah.
Yes.
You go to
But
hospitals, Keisha, you go to doctors, you go to adult education centers, you get free condoms there. But a woman, yeah, who's struggling, who cannot afford. 1 out of 7 women really struggle to buy menstrual hygiene products. We can get free condoms, but no free products, menstrual product, which we really need every year. So
every month.
this is a sad reality. Sorry, every month. Yeah, it's a sad reality.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rupinderjit. You brought that in beautifully. And I'm thinking that we need to start out in smaller groups, and the smallest group is the home, where you have the people who helped create you. I'm hoping कि हमारे
Absolutely.
सारा परिवार के जो सदस्य हैं एक साथ बैठ के conversation start kar sakte hain. You can start talking about it. Huda, you're here with us. We know that you are a nutritionist, you are a clinical dietitian. We are talking about situation kya hai. But if a woman gets comfortable with her body and is looking after herself, then she will enjoy this time. It won't be coupled with mood swings and pains and cramps, because the body is going to be healthy. Huda, can you share with us what can a woman eat through the month or towards her periods to keep her body healthy?
Thank you, Kesha, for the question. So, as Rupinderjit was saying, she said a very good thing that even today we follow myths like, not touching the pickle, not watering the plants, and, sleeping in a different corner altogether, using different vessels to eat your food. All of these things are still prevalent in our society, and these things need to, these things need to definitely end. Now, when it comes to our nutrition, it's always said that you are what you eat. So, whatever you eat is definitely going to impact your hormones, it is going to impact your menstrual flow. So, number one, we need to understand that all the refined foods that we consume, I mean, everybody enjoys junk food. Who doesn't enjoy junk food? All of us want a cheat meal. But then at
The
the end
word is
of the day,
junk.
we need to. Didn't get you,
But the
Krisha.
word is junk.
Yeah. So all of us love it, but at the end of the day, we need to realize that eating too much of these foods, whether it's processed foods, whether it's refined foods, too much of sugar, salt, oil, or these ready-to-eat foods that we get, they are not going to help us in the long run. Eating them once in a while is definitely something we should be doing, because we need to cater to our cravings as well. We cannot completely say I'm not going to eat it. But before our periods, when we experience PMS, at that particular time, I'd just like to put it down as okay, so there's a question also. Yeah, so premenstrual syndrome, that's what PMS is known as, if there are women who don't know about it. So PMS is a phase wherein you could experience a lot of mood swings. Cravings is one thing that most of the women go through. So
So let's answer that question then. Are chocolates good during periods?
okay, Gurvinder, if you want to eat chocolates, you can definitely eat 2 pieces of chocolates. I'm not going to say no, because I personally also crave chocolates at that particular time. So, if you are craving a particular food, you should eat it. I mean, but make sure that you are eating it in portions. So, eat 2 pieces of it and keep the rest of it in the fridge or wherever you want to keep it. But if you don't cater to your cravings at that particular time, you might end up eating the entire slab some other day. So rather than that, if you are craving for a chocolate, it could be a dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is better, because usually it's said that if you eat dark chocolates, it's going to help you during your periods. So you should rather have dark chocolates, or maybe if you want to have a normal milk chocolate, have like 2 pieces, nothing more than that.
We'll go
Okay.
to this final question right now, Huda, because what are the best foods during periods? You were talking about during PMS. What's the best foods? We're down to our last 4 minutes, so I'm going to ask you to share in a minute, please.
Okay, so herbal teas, so it could be chamomile tea, spearmint tea, peppermint tea is one thing that you can consume. Whole grains are very, very important, because they help in balancing your hormones and keeping you full for longer durations. Foods that are protein rich, so they keep you full, you don't have too many cravings then. So you could go for lean meat, eggs, or your nuts, seeds. Again, foods rich in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. So it could be your nuts, seeds. Seeds could be your flax seeds, chia seeds, almonds, walnuts, hemp seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. And you can include a lot of herbs in your diet. That could be mint, ginger, garlic, because these again help in balancing out your hormones and keeping you well during menstruation.
That's great. Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to go to Sanjana right now. I know that it's very uncomfortable traveling during this time when you've got your periods. Can you quickly, in a minute, cover how can a woman travel comfortably?
Right. So firstly, I think it's very important that we carry not only our sanitary pads or tampons with us, but also our panty liners, because we do have dates when the flow is less and you probably don't feel like wasting an entire pad. And I would also suggest everyone to carry a couple of sanitizers and some disposal bags. Basically, it's the papers that you can wrap it up and throw it in, because hygiene is just as important as managing your period. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, so as we're going towards the end right now, we've got so many people going that this is a wonderful session, very informative. Thank you so much. We want all of you, agar aap promise karte ho that you are going to start today to work on yourself, to work on your own mental makeup ki you will have a more open conversation आपके परिवार के सदस्य के साथ. Then we want you to say I promise in the comments right now, because आपका promise, one drop at a time, will make our society more comfortable with this life giving time. It is because of this time that all of us exist, right? So please go ahead and say I promise. You make a contribution, and all our panelists, I'm giving you a minute each. What is it that you feel should definitely be our approach during this time, and what is your promise that is going to be your approach as you move forward? So we're going to start out with Rachna, the co-founder of Gynoveda. Rachna, we're gonna, yeah.
So I think very clearly it is every woman's body is unique and every woman's period story is unique. And I think that needs to come out. Give a platform to women to be able to express themselves without any inhibitions, to be able to have safe, online, non-judgmental conversations. Nobody needs to judge any woman on her choice of what kind of a sanitary resource she uses. Of course, health and hygiene and sanitation is extremely important, but I think as women, we often don't express ourselves because we fear that we're getting judged. So I think non-judgmental very clearly. I'm a huge advocate of Ayurveda for healthy periods, because I think the ancient Vedic medicine system has such miraculous results, both in terms of the science and in terms of solution. And so we are at Gynoveda on a mission to change lives of 8 million women in India who have any kind of a menstrual problem, and we want freedom. I'm just going to leave quickly with the third thought. Any woman anywhere who's going through any kind of a period problem, I think we should all remember that it's not a disease, it's a disorder. And there is a huge difference between living under this whole guilt and shame of, oh, what I'm going through is a disease. You do not have a disease. You only have a disorder that can be treated and that will get you out of this point. That's all.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That is amazing. We're going to ask Rupinderjit, who joins us all the way from the UK, to share with us what is your approach moving forward. And of course, we've got the selfie that we want from you on our Martamom page, and even on your own Facebook page. Go ahead and tag us. You have to say hashtag selfie with a red spot. And you can also send it to Smash Shame with M2M, that is Marto Mom, Smash Shame with M2M hashtag. Make sure that you take the selfie with the red spot. We want to make sure that all of us come together, all of us promise, all of us make a difference. Rupinderjit, we know that you are definitely spearheading this. Can you share with us what is going to be your approach going forward?
The approach going forward will be to educate more people about menstrual hygiene and share this information not just only a women-only platform, but on a platform where people can see us, hear us, and get more men involved in self-improvement.
All right. All right. Rupinderjit, I know that the connection has moved up a little, but we want to say a big thank you to you. We want to ask Dr. Shweta to speak next. And also we've got a mom who says, over here, how do you speak to your daughter and tell her that there is nothing to be afraid of or ashamed of? So how do we start out the conversation? One that you didn't have yourself at home, but now you're encouraging it. So how do we do that?
Okay, Keisha, I'll take the question first. How do you speak to your daughter? First thing is ask her, have you heard what a period is? Do you know what a period is? So that becomes a very easy start, I mean, at least it worked for me. Do you know? And then she was like, yes, I've heard. I think there's some blood that comes out. So she knew. Okay. So she had obviously heard from a friend who must be having an elder sister and everything. So then I told her, come, let's talk about it. I'll let you know everything about a period because every woman every girl at some stage is going to experience it. So if you know about it, you'll be better prepared for it. And she was like, okay. And then we sat down and we spoke on the details and it was very easy. I was paranoid, but yeah, it turned out to be very easy. Yeah.
Brilliant. And your way going forward, what is it that you're going to take on going forward?
Going forward, I'll be very quick. First thing is accept that it is something very natural. It's something very beautiful. Don't build that negativity because that negativity is come due to stigma. Get over it. You bring the change. If that negativity is due to the pain, due to your pimples, due to your PMS that you're experiencing, get it corrected. Take help for that correction and enjoy your period. Second thing I will say is manage stress, whether it is meditation, whether it is yoga, whether it is cooking, whether it is painting, whatever makes you feel better. And this is not during your period. This is all throughout. So remember, we are human beings first. So men live a life all throughout their month. So they don't have 5 different days of the month. So similarly, we don't have to treat it like, 5 special days of the month. You have to take care of your stress all throughout. Similarly, exercising, movement, be active all throughout the month. So that will give you a very healthy period. Eat well, eat healthy. And like Huda put it so beautifully, that, attend to your cravings. It's okay to attend to your cravings, but by and large, you have to understand that you need a healthy diet and you have to do that for yourself throughout the month, not only during the period. And the last thing I would like to say, the last point is take help. Okay, so now we are busy, we are working outside the house, we're working inside the house, and then we don't want to take help. That builds a lot of stress. So we have people like Sanjana, we have people like Rachna, who are giving you that help that you need to make your period easier. So take that help.
Brilliant.
So, yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. That was beautiful. You rounded it up so beautifully. Sanjana, I'm going to ask you very quickly to share with us what is going to be your approach to the opinion of your entire company and yours as you move forward.
Right. So the main vision behind the Pink Box is to see India as a period positive society. We've been doing a lot of work in that aspect and we're going to continue to do that. And I just read somebody just mentioned that mothers should become comfortable and should take the baton and educate their daughters about periods. I feel it's not just moms. I feel like it should be dads as well. My grandfather and my father have been so supportive of my entire journey with the Pink Box, and the kind of acceptance and encouragement goes a long way. So I think every girl out there, every daughter out there should experience it. And thirdly, I think what Dr. Huda and as well as Dr. Shweta said, give in to your cravings, but also do it in a healthy way. And that's what we've been doing at the Pink Box. So I would urge everybody to just stay healthy, stay nutritious, and yeah, just have fun.
Thank you so much, Sanjana. That was lovely. And of course, Huda Sheikh, we're going to ask you to kind of close this up. What is it that you think should be the definite takeaways for everybody and your promise going forward?
Okay, so as Dr. Shweta was, saying, acceptance is the key. The moment you accept that you bleed and it is something natural, you are going to be pretty normal with it. So acceptance is the key. Number two, be very positive about your period. So usually whenever we talk about periods, people are like, "Arey, ye kya? Kahan wapas aa gaya?" Why are we bleeding? Why only girls bleed? Why don't boys bleed? Humko hi kyun diya hai? Kind of a thing. So we have all these thoughts when we get our periods. So it's very important that we be positive about it, because whatever happens to your body, it starts from the mind. So if your mind is positive, if you are positive about it, everything in your body is going to go normally. So we see so many hormonal imbalances, we see so many problems these days. Most of the times it is because we are very negative about everything. So that's why very important, take it as a very positive thing and be very positive about the entire process. Number three, make sure that you educate your boys as well as girls about menstruation. I'm talking about boys first, because when it's a co-ed school, or when we put our children in schools which have boys as well as girls, usually most of the times when boys don't know about it, they mock girls, they bully them. And then there's a group of boys who talk about a girl's stained skirt, and they say, "Oh my god, did you look at her skirt, it's red," and this and that. So if we talk to our boys first, we when we educate them, these things won't happen, and girls won't have to face that embarrassment that they have to face. Because when we spoke to a lot of girls, they said that, "I stained my skirt and boys were actually making fun of us, and they were bullying us, saying that, okay, this is what is there on the skirt." And at
Yes.
the same time, I've also heard where boys have helped out girls because they knew what periods are. So
Brilliant.
very important that educate both of them. And firstly, you need to have that acceptance, and as mothers, as parents, you need to be open about the entire topic. Don't be shy, don't be hush hush. It all starts from the house. And at the same time,
Beautiful.
eat a nutritious diet. Make sure that you are eating well for yourself, because you have to take care of yourself. Nobody is going to take care of yourself if you don't take care of yourself. So eat a well balanced diet. And as Rachna was saying, we are always at the last pedestal, or we are at the last portion of the stack. So make sure that you are on the top, you keep yourself on top, keep yourself healthy, and that's when you will be able to keep your entire family healthy and
I
keep
just
educating.
wanted to chime in something, if there are any school kids over here, something that we would do during our school days when we would stain our skirts is we would go to the bathroom, wash it real quick, and then turn the skirt around. So the stain part is actually in front. And then if you feel shy about it, you can just pretend like you dropped water on it. So that's a little hack that I want to give all the young school going girls out there.
That is lovely. So, a conversation that has traversed from different parts of the globe. We've spoken about keeping yourself healthy mentally, physically moving, meditating for the mind, eating healthy food, making sure that you have your wellness checkups constantly, getting in the fathers, the husbands to have a supportive home environment. And then, of course, if your sons are educated at home, you know what, they're going to be very sensitive and educated and empathetic when they meet girls outside. Like Huda said, if a skirt is stained, we want this empathy and this understanding to move off, not stay in this panel discussion, but move out into society, from being comfortable and giving in to cravings, making sure that all your needs are satisfied during this time. What an amazing, amazing conversation. Educating the boy and the girl, educating the entire family, and educating society. We've tried to do our bit at Ma to Mom today in this panel discussion, but we want you to promise that you're going to share this amazing panel discussion. You're going to have watch parties. You're going to take this out into your family. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, watch this panel discussion with your family members. It's going to be much more simple. We are doing the talking. You'll just do the listening. Thank you so much, Jyoti Agarwal, for making this possible. Thank you, all our panelists, Rachna Gupta, Dr. Shweta Santana Pai. Thank you so much, Huda Sheikh. We want to say a big thank you to Rupinder Kaur, who joined us all the way from the UK. I am Keisha, RJ Keisha. Watch out for Mind Your Health on YouTube. It is my wellness series. So subscribe to RJ Keisha. You've been fantastic. आप हमारे साथ जुड़े थे, आपके family members हमारे साथ थे. We want you to enjoy being a woman completely, and we want you to make sure that you support your wife. We want you to support your sister. We want you to support your friend. We want you to just be comfortable. Thank you so much for joining us here today. World Menstrual Hygiene Day. What a panel discussion. Thank you so much for joining Ma to Mom. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. So much of amazing knowledge. Jyoti Agarwal, you rock. Thank you for having these sensitive, amazing conversations on Ma to Mom group. And to all the mums who are with us, you are fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Watch this panel discussion with your family. Watch it with your son. Watch it with your husband.